Hi Tania. This is video 1 of our SET program, and I wanted today to go over the touch stick exercise that we showed you on your assessment in a couple of really easy steps to follow. So firstly, all you're going to need is your touch stick like the one that we showed on assessment. And I'm using today some Kong paste, but something nice and easy to pop onto the end of it, so that just to get started, Cruze is able to learn to sort of lick the end of the stick and have a positive association with it being yummy. So I've enlisted in the help today of my friend Max, who's going to come along and show us how to do some of the bits and pieces. This is Max with us. Max is also a little bit shy, so it's nice to be able to see another dog that does show some anxiety, especially to new things, and how it copes within this environment, with this exercise. So, to start off with, the reason that we're working with this touch stick, when we're working with animals that show anxiety towards strangers and towards people, what I wanted to do as my sort of primary objective is to find a tool that would be safe to use, i.e. with a tool like a touch stick we can actually give ourselves space, so we can extend the arm out to a point where the hand is tucked away nice and safely. Equally, when we're working with other species, so for example, if we were to think about something like a lion or an ape that we were working with, we would want them to focus on a target as opposed to focusing on food coming from the hand. And it's really important for safety management for Cruze to know that actually, when we're going to start to get him used to being around strangers, that rather than running up to somebody and targeting their hand when he's still feeling a little bit unsure, and it could potentially show dangerous triggers, that he's very much focusing on a target that he knows and associates with something good. So when you're ready, we're going to get started. Okay, so I'm just going to extend the stick out a little bit. I've got a wasp going. Extend the stick out a little bit to get going, and I'm going to pop onto the end of it a tiny piece of the Kong paste ready to go. So we spoke about using a word that Cruze would associate with something good coming or something good happening. The word you chose to use was good. The word Max is used to using is yes. So I'm just going to really reinforce that now with a couple of little treats, and each time I pop a treat in, yes, yes. He's going to hear that word directly just before it happens. Yes, good boy, yes. And this really helps the process, yes, so that when we introduce the stick and he touches the end of it, he automatically hears the word and knows that he's done something well. Obviously the reinforcement will happen straight away because we've already applied it to the stick at the end. So we're going to pop it down now. We're going to make sure that the timing, just like we discussed, happens at exactly the moment that his nose touches or he shows any interest at all in the stick. Maxie, was this? Yes, good boy. Just removing the stick for a second. Yes, good boy. Yes, good boy. Well done. So we're going to do this a couple of times, just so he gets used to the behaviour that he's doing, which is touching the end of the stick. Yes, good boy. And the reward coming. And again, he's looking for the end of the target. Yes, good boy. And once more. Yes, good boy. So you can see that although he's showing some signs of anxiety in his body, purely because of the noises that are going on around the training school at the moment with the leaves rushing on the roof, that he's still able to facilitate learning and he's happy to take part in the exercise. So what I want to do this time is take it to the next level. Right. Maxie, touch. Yes, good boy. He's off lead, touch, so that he's able to remove himself at any point that he wants to, that he feels uncomfortable. He can choose to take part in the exercise or not to, as he wants. Touch, yes. Good boy. So I'm going to give the target a name. And primarily because Max already associates touching my hand with that word, I'm going to call it something else. So this time as it goes down, Maxie, what's this? Ready? Target. Yes, good boy. I'm going to use a different word. Target. Yes, good boy. Target. Yes, good boy. What a good boy. Well done. Target. Yes, good boy. Well done. So we pretty much got rid of all the cheese now. Target. Yes, good boy. And he's starting to learn that the word target means that it's predicting him doing the behaviour of touching the end of it. And now we're ready to move on to step 2. So step 2 is getting Max to be able to touch the end of the target and then come back to me for a reward. So I'm going to extend it the full length of my hand. Ready? Target. Yes. Good boy. And then reward him from my opposite hand. He's now learning to touch the target and return to me for reinforcement. Target. Yes. Good boy. Well done. Target. Yes. Good boy. Well done. Now Max is working with me at the moment, and Cruze will be primarily starting off working always with you. And this is because he has all his trust in you, you're his safe person, and it's the best possible place for him to be in when he starts learning, to be with somebody that he feels is safe and confident with. We're working towards an end goal where we'll be able to transfer the target stick onto other people that are known to him to start off with, and then people who are new to your home. So rather than sort of Cruze approaching people and feeling anxious and then people reaching out to touch, they will be given clear direction of what to do, and Cruze will be performing a behaviour targeted on the stick so that he's not actually feeling that he's making any uncomfortable eye contact with anybody, or that he has to approach hands that he might already have a negative association with. Thank you very much. I really hope you've enjoyed the video and that everything is clear, and we'll look forward to seeing you really soon. Hi Tania, it's Friday the 7th of October, and this is the second of the 3 videos that you'll be receiving after our consultation. The most important one for me, this is about the resource guarding, when we were talking about the behaviour Cruze is showing when he's on his bed and he can start to become a little bit threatening towards your partner, and in the past that he's snapped out, and I really wanted to form a really positive association with his bed. So we've got Ziggy today, and Ziggy is going to be working with us to give you a visual representation of how to make a positive association with the bed to start off with, and then also how to get him to start to feel good when people are approaching him and not threatened. So if I can get Ziggy in, Ziggy! Ziggy, come on! Come on. Yes. Good boy. Well done. Yes. Good boy. So, starting off, we've got a little bed here to represent your bed at home. Yes. Good boy. And all we really want to do is we want to mark each point that the dog steps onto the bed. What we're doing then is we're dropping a reward onto the bed so that he's starting to know that when he's on his area, good things come to him. Yeah, he stays there and good things are presented to him always. So to start off with, I'm just going to move my body language. Yes, good boy, so that Ziggy's likely to step onto the bed. And as soon as he does, I want to make him know that it's okay for him to come off of there as well. So he can get up and down whenever he wants to. Now he's chosen to stay, so at this point, yes, I'm going to throw in another reinforcer because he's showing a really lovely behaviour that being on the bed was a nice place to be. Good boy, well done, yes. And you can almost keep reinforcing that point, yes, good boy, so that he's learning that actually being there is nice. He doesn't particularly have to do anything, yes, and good things happen to him. This is going to be part of our relaxation exercises. So we're looking to capture when we can, if he's just lying there and he's minding his own business, then it's a really nice thing for you to be able to find a distance at which you feel safe and throw in food to mark that he's doing something that you really like. Ziggy, yes, good boy. Now I'm not giving this exercise a name at the moment, I'm not telling him to go onto his bed, I'm just marking him and rewarding him when he's doing so naturally. So for him, he feels that that place is somewhere that he can relax, he doesn't have to stay there for any period of time, and also we're not increasing huge amounts of excitement by him sort of anticipating anything happening. It's just very casual to start off with. Okay, good boy. So once I've started to introduce that, then if I wanted to, I can also get a centre bed cue that you can use when you want to as a safety measure. So if we wanted Ziggy to lie on his bed, for example, if you have guests and you're looking to sort of control and manage his behaviour, then there's no reason why he can't go there as a safe place to be, making sure that we're always respectful of the space around him so that nobody's approaching him and making him feel uncomfortable. So to start off with, once you've got your dog going onto that area, yes, good boy, you can put a little bit of a word in just before the action happens. So what we're going for, okay, good boy, ready? On your mat, yes. The second he steps on, we reward him and we give him a marker to say he's done it well. Okay, good boy, are you ready, steady? On your mat, yes. likely to settle on his mat area, and then again we can start to throw in the food as we pass or from a distance, so he's learning to settle there. Yes, good boy. Well done. What a good boy. Yes, good boy. Making sure that we retreat each time, because although Ziggy's quite happy with me approaching, when we're relaying this to dogs like Cruze that show anxiety with people approaching, it's really good to be cautious, or it's imperative to be cautious, that we're throwing something in from a distance where we're not within his direct strike range, and we're making sure that he sees that we're retreating each time. Coming in, adding something good, yes, and moving away to a safe distance. This way he'll start to, yes, anticipate our arrival with something good happening and not something that's threatening to him. Good. Yes, good boy. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and it's been useful to you. There'll be one more video update, and then we'll be looking to progress on all of these exercises and giving you regular updates as we go along so that you find that you've got support. Thank you very much. Hi Tania, this is the third and final video from our first consultation. This one I thought would be really useful to you. I'm using a stooge dog today who has a very similar background to Cruze. His name is Sunny. He's a 10-year-old Saluki cross greyhound. He's an ex-gypsy dog that was abandoned, and his although we don't have any knowledge of his past before we got him, his behaviour is very consistent with a dog that has suffered stressful trauma. He's very fearful of new things, of dogs and of new people. So we're revisiting the bucket game. I wanted to be able to show you the techniques that we showed you on your consultation in a little bit more detail, and also to be able to go through with you some of the body language that Cruze is giving off. Hopefully, you're going to see some of those things in Sunny. So you will see stress signals, like he will lick his lips sometimes. You may see the whites of his eyes, his ears may be pinned back. It's really important that when we're working with any exercises like this, that we keep it as low level stress as possible. So we're going to be maintaining distance from him. The bucket game is a really special game. It accesses the dog's ability to be able to communicate with us. So what I'm using here, and I'm going to show you to the side so I don't upset the dog, but what I'm showing you here, I've just got a normal bowl. Inside my bowl, it's full of little pieces of sausage and kibble. If your dog really enjoys his own food, then there's no reason why you can't feed a meal this way. Sunny's on his bed because that's his safest place to be, so he feels very confident there. What I'm going to be trying to address today is examining and touching his feet area, which is something that for him has been sort of particularly difficult, the most difficult area for him to sort of have handled. It makes him feel very vulnerable, and I thought this would be really useful with Cruze's ongoing veterinary work, that he's able to get used to being handled as being something good and something pleasant. And the bucket's a fantastic tool to be able to use for that. What it does is it allows the dog to communicate if they're feeling uncomfortable and remove themselves from a situation. So in the words of Chirag Patel, whose game this belongs to, if you like, it allows the dog to whisper and not shout. And this translates very, very easily into, if the dog is whispering, it's likely to be showing subtle signs such as yawning, licking their lips, making their body language smaller. When the dog begins to shout because nobody is listening to them, they're much more likely for people to take attention. So growling, lunging, snapping at the air, and all those defensive behaviours and displays of aggression that make people back off to a dog are very, very successful in maintaining distance from something that is threatening to them. So stopping someone doing something that makes them feel uncomfortable. It's also often a last resort for a dog. They will try absolutely everything that they can first to avoid it happening. And by being able to access tools and games like this, we can really learn what our dog does leading up to feeling stressed and how we can keep them continually under threshold and make them feel better, gradually building them up in their own time. So without further ado, we're going to get started. Hopefully you can see what Sunny's doing with his facial expressions. Sometimes he looks at the bucket with his eyes, but his whole head doesn't turn. I'm going to be very careful that I can be quick with my marking, and by marking we'll be using the word yes, as we have been doing with Cruze. Every single time he looks at the bucket, he will receive a treat from inside it to start off with. So when we're ready to go, what we're going to do, I'm going to place the bucket just at around about a sort of 2 or 3 foot away from him. I'm holding it up slightly higher, just so at the moment that he doesn't help himself to the treats. The treats are inside, my hand is clear, we're ready to go. Yes. So immediately he made eye contact with the bucket, so he receives a reward. If he wants to look away, that's absolutely fine. Yes. Good boy. I'll pop it on his bed for him. Yes. Good boy. So you can see, because it's rewarding behaviour for him to do that, it's making it more and more likely that he's likely to look at the bowl, and the more he looks at the bowl, the more he's going to get a treat. What he's learning is, when he looks at the bowl, something good happens, but it's also safe for him to disengage, yes, and look away from it at any point. Yes, good boy. So just a tiny eye contact there was enough to trigger him getting something good. Yes, good boy. Okay, so you can see him starting to figure things out. It's okay for him to disengage, and by disengaging at the moment, he's looking, yes, he's looking away. If he starts to feel a little anxious or like something might happen that he's uncomfortable with, then you're starting to see him lick his lips, yes, and he blinks his eyes a little bit more so you can see some of the tension in the face. Yes, good boy. As he starts to understand the rules of the game and that it's not invasive to him, yes, good boy. He starts to become more confident. When we're doing this, there are 2 or 3 stages in which to progress. Yes, good boy. The first could be moving the bucket to a surface or onto the floor, so that what the dog's doing is we're freeing up both of our hands and the dog's learning to look at the target, yes, in order to receive the reward, rather than approach or put his nose into the target. Yes, good boy. So the dog's looking at me, that's absolutely fine. He's a good boy. So if we progress the exercise on, and it looks like the dog's not understanding the game, that's absolutely fine. We can give a little second to see if he's going to switch his eye contact to the bucket, and if he doesn't, yes, good boy, which he did. We can change the position of the bucket back to the original position to make it easier for him to understand. So we can very easily make the game tailored to the dog's individual learning rate. Yes, good boy. Okay, this time, what we're going to do, I'm picking the bucket back up. Got to be careful not to touch, that's my habit, not his. This time what I'm wanting to do is just to move my hand towards where his foot is. At this point, if the dog wants to look at my hand or he wants to remove his body away from me, then that's absolutely fine. If he continues to look at the bucket, then he will receive a reward. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the bucket here. Yes, good boy. And with my hand, I'm going to reach across to his foot. So he's looking towards my hand, I'm just moving it out of the way. Yes, good boy. If he maintains eye contact with the bucket, he gets a reward. I'm removing my hand because he's looking to where my hand is. Yes, good boy. If he maintains eye contact with the bucket, he gets a reward. Now this is probably far enough for him at this stage. I really hope that this was helpful to get you going with Cruze. And please remember that we're always able to be in contact so that you're always able to get hold of me and talk through any of these exercises and procedures. I really look forward to seeing you on our next consultation. Thank you.